Yes, everybody, Russ of the West Ham Network. Hope you're all well. I wouldn't say safe and well because I get the piss taken out of me from 6'2" for that. But what are we going to talk about today? What are we going to talk about today? Are we going to talk about the fact that we've signed some young lad from Concord Rovers? Or are we going to talk about Mr. Kudus? Where to begin? So, I mean, you guys are more aware of what's happened in the last 4 or 5 hours, really. Well, not even that. Before that, in all honesty, the whole Kudus to West Ham, Kudus to Tottenham thing was very much seen by a lot of people. People assumed it was a case of when, if not if, it was going to happen. And now it's happened, and as you said, now it's £55 million now, according to X on Patreon. He basically said on his latest update, a high-powered source has called and given West Ham's side of the Kudus story and why a bid has been accepted. This does not mean we agree with its explanation. We're simply reporting it as we are told. In summary, the conversation below, West Ham were prepared to accept less money for Mohammed Kudus, so they didn't have to sell him to Spurs, but that wasn't an option as no cash bids were made apart from Spurs's. The club apparently considered the fee for Elanga, who has had a better season than Kudus, as a benchmark, and 55 plus add-ons isn't a terrible figure. That's not my words, words of not even X's, the words of the senior source that he's been reporting this to. They also said that Pedro to Chelsea and Brian Mbeumo's fee also indicates of this. The club apparently considered the fee, reiterating the player only wanted to join Spurs. I don't believe that. To be honest. I did a video this morning with and actually Nick from Claret and Booze. His video was very similar in that I don't think this was Kudus's making. I think, in all honesty, we assumed we were getting more. My wife she said refreshments, please. She's down it. I think with Kudus, I think you've got a situation where I think, again, assumptions. I think we assumed we were going to get a better, a more, a number of bids, and I don't think the intention of the club was ever to sell to Tottenham, and that was really the only option. In terms of cash, Chelsea were offering players plus cash. We're led to believe he wanted cash. I don't think, by all accounts, by what has been revealed since, it's not a case of this is going to pay that £40 million sort of loan. This will go straight to players, and I think it has to. Let's go. Oh, there's loads of comments. Let's go for some comments straight away. Hope we buy someone decent to replace it, like Manit Fofana from Lyon to replace Lyon, who aren't being relegated now. How did that make sense? We might as well get ready for the Championship. Cats we were heading next season. That horrible shirt in their atmosphere stadium. Club's done for. That Cardiff City spokesman knows how to show the fans that he loves the club. I'm all West Ham fans. I don't know. We are doomed. We're doomed. I'm glad I don't know a Tottenham fan. Well, Spurs have got a great player. On his day, he's a world beater. I think it is, and maybe the tutelage. I mean, you've seen what Frank did with the likes of Wisa and Bremen. Then there was, reports today that they were looking at getting Wisa. I think that was West. I think that was them. We did that all the time. We expect to buy a player. Oh no, we'll change tacks, and they go, oh, you can get him. But with Mbeumo, you see the transformation he did there. I mean, he's a good player. They've got a good player. They've got a good deal. I think the trouble is the whole thing about rivalry for me does seem to be sort of fan level, and that's it. Clubs haven't clubs don't really, it's all about the Benjamins, isn't it? Unfortunately. Wipe our hands and let's get Marion Stoikens into 12 minutes. Well, yeah. Sunderland stay up. We go down at this rate. Sunderland does some great players. Signed Taibbi from Club Bruges, great player. What Guys says is this: they told us if we move to a stadium, we have ball class team, but we're selling our wild class. That is some typing, very angry typing there, Kim Joe. Yeah, I mean, I was listening to Gio's to live this afternoon, and someone made a great point saying, I think it might have been Alex in our WhatsApp group or someone like that came on and said, before he came to West Ham, he was literally signing for Chelsea in terms of Mohammed Kudus. So whether he saw this as a long-term place to play football, I don't think he did, in all honesty. The intention was always to move up. Is Tottenham to move up? Well, they are in the Champions League this year, having won the Europa, but it's the same thing with Declan Rice, really. You got to think with Declan Rice, he had a situation where he wanted to go to a club where he wanted to win stuff, and he hasn't since he's moved there. Ajax seller clause minimums we still owed for buying. Any cash left? Well, Ricky, we are led to be believed. Now, again, we are led to be believed that there will be these funds will be made available immediately for player sales. Now, player sort of purchases rather. Now, if that's true, we'll have to wait and see. 55 million gets 2 players. Well, I mean, you look at some of them. You look at someone like, Diouf's going to spend 22 million, and then you've got 30 odd million quid to buy in players. Depends how they go. We are only we've been linked to 150 odd players already this summer. Marius Stoikens, great player, young player, lots of potential, but that is that word potential. And for me, sometimes, yes, it's about getting that potential into the club, but also you do need some seasoned pros, when the shit hits the fan, who know how to navigate their way through. And I don't think, buying a bunch of 20-year-olds is going to really do that. And I think, and people look at the Brighton model. And I no disrespect to Brighton fans, but we know Luke, who's we've had him a few times, lovely guy, Luke. We're not Brighton fans; we're West Ham fans. We're a different breed, And the club have to make signings in the next 24, 48 hours. They have to get a couple of signings in just to show that the money's been reallocated. Because if we're waiting another week for and then next Saturday is the opening fixture really against Zurich Grasshoppers, and there's no one new coming in, and we've sold Kudus, maybe a Gerd as well. Yes, we've got the youngsters coming in, but I think 2 or 3 of those youngsters are ready for the step up. I don't think all of those youngsters are not ready for the step up and need first team football. Yeah, I haven't pressed the panic button just yet. 1 season, 70 million profit, and he put in a request. See, I don't think he put in a request. And I'm gonna. I've got a few. You know me. I've got a few contacts up my sleeve. I'm going to reach out to a few people and just to see if they know, because I don't think he would have put a request. I just don't see, unless that was the only way that they were going to get this move happening. I just can't see it. Just cannot see it. And I think the club needs to be sold. The owner should never step foot in the stadium until he sells. We're going to have a Burnley situation. How long until we hear Kudus put in a transfer request? But that's why it has, Ricky. That's what's been said. That's what Extra's reported. He's been told, as we said, according to that article on Patreon, that he was... where was it? The club were keen to reiterate that the player only wanted to sign for Spurs and turned down offers from Saudi at the start of the window. And when it was discovered Liverpool and Arsenal weren't bidding, Spurs was his preferred choice for the reasons we have explained. So Spurs were the only club in town who put a decent offer in all honesty. Now, he hasn't officially gone yet, but I think if Chelsea came for a late bid, I think he'd probably go to Chelsea, in all honesty. But there we go. So he loves the shoulders, doesn't he? I wonder how much of the fee he will be made available. Well, we'll let him leave all of it, so wait and see. Just got to hope some of it can be reinvested. I think all of it being reinvested. I think it has to be reinvested. We need England under 21 players. Jimmy will play this season. I mean, you will have a some of it. you know me, half glass full. Always looking for some sort of positives. You know, he's going to go missing for the Africa. He'll be at the Africa Cup of Nations, where Somerville won't be, or Luis Guilherme won't be, who plays in that position, or as you said, a Harvey Elliott maybe, or there was reports as you said, James McAtee was reportedly available for 20-25 million quid. So there we go. Jimmy will be like a new signing. I agree. Shocking transfer, not just because of the club he's gone to, but the pathetic fee. What an untapped talent we got rid of. It's such a shame. It is happy Hammer. I think I think the issue being is the lack of cash flow, and the needing to having to sell to some extent in order to bring in significant money to be reinvested. Now, the question is, how are we got ourselves in this position? Poor management of transfer spend, manager appointments, a poor season, lack of European football last season made a massive effect on us. In all honesty, if we had, I truly believe, if we weren't in Europe, we wouldn't have had the likes of Kudus or Paqueta. Paqueta was before, but yeah, the likes of Paqueta, Kudus, Alvarez. These guys wouldn't have come to us if we hadn't had European football. And the impact of not having European football is having a detrimental effect. It had an effect last year trying to get players in under Lopetegui. And I think Tim did well to get players in all honesty. And you look at the players we brought in, and as I said this morning, a lot of those players weren't actually bought for the value that we were told. So someone like Fulkrug was 22 million euros, not 27.5 million euros, or 29 million euros, I think it was altogether, 27 million quid. So that there's, as I said, the narrative changes, and the narrative is, and in terms of what these guys, the ITKs and stuff, the information they get, that's all they have. The club will give them the information they want to give them. In that opening sort of sentence by X, he says a high-powered source in the club has called us. They wanted to get the narrative out there in terms of what that was looking at. More room around the field for I couldn't talk for a minute. Irvin or Grado. Guedo still hasn't been sold. I think the assumption was we're going to get all these players, and then we'd have a budget to then spend players, and it hasn't turned out that no one wants our players. Kudus, realistically, is our only reasonable sellable asset. No one else wants our players for the money that we think they're worth. If 55 million won't get us enough, it's 55 million won't get us enough players. I fear for relegation. How can you motivate players that are all told they're up for sale or not? We're not told they're up for sale, Scott. What they are told is that and they'll say you're up for sale. The club are open to offers for all of our players apart from, I think, it's Bowen and Wan-Bissaka. That was it. Latest party 55. Why? My only, I mean, even if it was more than, if it was, I mean, the idea is 55 plus add-ons, I believe. So, and the reason they probably said it like that is so if the add-ons put it up to 65 million, for example, we would assume there's 65 million pounds to spend, but I think it's going to be 55 is the price, plus the add-ons will come in if they do this and that and this and that. No, you're totally right. Hope we've got pace in midfield. I almost have no confidence in the Bulls to do the right thing. I hope I'm wrong. On the season's pros, Russ, don't worry, Sully is Vardy. Well, Diggy, go back and look under Lopetegui, not Lopetegui, Potter. Potter brought in Danny Welbeck under his tutelage, and if we had made that deal, everyone go, what the fuck? But he actually did job, and for all the youngsters they brought in, he brought in Danny Welbeck, James Milner. He brought in, his team brought in Adam Lallana and people like that. Dennis, hope you'll make proof in the pudding. If we were actually bidding, then there's no excuse not to pay the extra fee. If we keep saying we need to buy, that's what I understand. If we've got 20 million quid, we've got 20 million quid. You know what I mean? Or if that's what we have to spare, that's what we have to spare. So actually, realistically, that 20 million quid should already be banked. And people saying, what about, I think Anton made a point on our chat saying, what about the Vlasic money? The Vlasic money we have been believe doesn't come out of this pot this season. It's been ring fenced because they know it was going to come, and they were just hanging on to it, obviously, to get the old interest involved. But we'll see. For me, Dennis, that needs to be, we need to have Diouf in the bag by Friday. If that's with that far down the line already, there's a couple of mil, because Atalanta are sniffing around for him at the moment as well. 41 for investment. We'll let him leave all 50. We'll wait and see. Alvarez stock is currently high and wonder what fee will settle on him. Judas. I don't think he's a Judas as such. I don't agree with the narrative, Chris. And I think actually by saying Judas, we're sort of the whole PR spin of this is, he asked for a transfer. He wanted to go to Tottenham. The only reason he's wanted to go to Tottenham is no other fucker has bid for him. No other one has come close to him. Liverpool haven't bid. Arsenal haven't bid. Chelsea only offered players plus money. And they bought Jamie Grittens anyway from Dortmund, so they didn't need him. Newcastle were interested, but they bought Elanga for 10 million quid cheaper. Tottenham were the only club in town. Saudi's never made any proper push for him. They just made tentative. And to his credit, he didn't want to go for the money. He wanted to go and still play in the Premier League. He wanted to stay in London as well. So it does narrow the search down to really sort of Fulham, Chelsea, Spurs and Arsenal, Crystal Palace. And realistically, you're thinking those Tottenham, Chelsea and Arsenal were in the Champions League. So, and I don't criticise the player. The footballers are it's their career. As I said, if someone phoned me up today and said, right, you could work across the road for better pay and working with a better team, you'd go tomorrow, wouldn't you? But with football, we have this sort of different frame of reference that they have to be loyal, and it don't work like that now in modern football. And I don't think it works from a board level as well, because at the end of the day, people are selling, Liverpool, Everton, Man U, Man City. These guys they'll sell to anyone. He says can't win nothing. Who says we can't? Indeed, I don't think he puts. I agree. Gong Show. The circus is back. Max Buckenbury posted this stream. Lovely, thank you, Max. The way the ball was pimped out from and then got on that. Well, don't forget we did the similar thing to Declan Rice, didn't we? Really. And see, I just think the whole thing is just, again, we never, as a club, I think with the exception of Declan Rice to some extent, we can never sell players well. We never sell players well. We never buy players well, with the exception maybe sort of an Aaron Wan-Bissaka. We've never sold players well, apart from Declan Rice. We sold him at the right time. In all honesty, Kudus was probably best to be sold last year when his stock was so high, that 2-week sort of where his contract was, in terms of release clause. But we didn't, and he stayed for another season. And then you're thinking, we know his minimum release is 85. We're not going lower than 65. Oh, we've sold him for 55. Now, unless those add-ons are another 10, 15 million quid on top, then we just look silly. None in West Ham. If the window gets any worse, we'll qualify Champions League. Yeah, exactly. I hope they get their heads down. Ball hogs, uninspired. Just wait till he locks horns with the team. That's the thing. Last time he went there, he got sent off. When he went to 3 Point Lane, he got sent off and got a 5-match ban. Now they're going to welcome him with open arms, but it's a different Spurs. I think with Thomas Frank, good, great manager, he's going to do well with him. I think 2p profit for Kudus. I mean, we did make a profit. Let's be honest. I think I'm more pissed that Judas only wanted Spurs attitude. See, again, for me, Gary, that's a line that isn't true. The fact is, the fact was Spurs were the only ones who wanted him, realistically. And so, the writing was on the wall. He can play in the Champions League next season. That's the thing. That would be so funny if Chelsea came in. I don't think they will now. I'd love it if Kudus fails his medical. Sell on clause, surely at that discount. You'd imagine they picked himself out with his performances and attitude all season. Gardner didn't qualify. Oh, really? Oh, brilliant. Oh, great. Why are we selling anyone to that lot? What a joke we have become. As I said, I don't think, Danny, I think, to be honest, that sort of tribalism isn't People don't give a shit when it comes to money. And as I said, based on that article, and again, this was the stuff, and again, the stuff that X gets, we know who his source is, saying West Ham were prepared to accept less than what they've accepted for Spurs, just so they didn't have to sell him. But there was no option, as no cash bids were made. So we didn't have any significant cash bids. Chelsea made bids with players plus cash, but West Ham wanted the cash because they didn't necessarily want those players that they were offered to them. I'm upset at what could have been. Lost interest. He was talking to Leeds under Moyes. Look, it's players. Players come and go, don't they? Players come and go, but the fans remain. And yeah, it'll be one of those. In 15 years' time, it'd be one of those, what would happen if, Kudus might turn out to be a complete world beater. He's 24, he's got his formative years ahead of him, and put in the right position. The fact is he came into a side where he was always going to be playing second fiddle to Bowen on the right-hand side. And, he's Bowen's captain. He was he still got 6 years left in his contract. He's always going to be the main man. Evening from Lincolnshire, 55 million. Was there a buy for him? Where was the buyer closer? Worst thing to do is sell to a rival. I think, Stu, for us, we consider Spurs to be a rival. We know that Levy we haven't sold a player, or there's been no transfers in the last 14 years or something like that between Spurs and West Ham. But, it was... Declan Rice to Arsenal. You've got to think that was, Declan Rice came out and said he wanted to win stuff. He wanted to go to Arsenal. That was the club he wanted to go to, wanted to win stuff. And yeah, he was vilified as well. So there's no doubt when Spurs play West Ham at London Stadium, he'll get booed, because that's what always happens when a player comes back. But good luck. I'd say good luck to him, but hopefully he's, as a for his own mental health and stuff, he plays in the position he wants to, and yeah, move on. It's a great move. He's just moved agents as well, so it's not surprising that the moves happened. I don't believe the powers that he are this ignorant of optics. They don't care about having someone coming. That's good news. My money is on. They don't care. Kudus was just moody. I think it's just him as a player. Just wait till Luda's clash his ego. It's not a pretty sight. He wasn't very nice to his Ghanaian teammates. Again, it sucks, but potentially got trampled. But that could backfire just the same for Spurs. It could do. And we know Spurs, it can be quite a toxic, ground as well. So anything's possible. Not really a shock. Kudus used as a stepping stone. Paul, as I said, he was literally on the, sign and dotted line for Chelsea before it all fell through for Chelsea. So, there was always going to be, for me, this was the second best outcome for him in terms of West Ham. He's still in London, still in the Premier League. And yeah, we'll see what happens. As I said, it isn't 100. It hasn't been signed, sealed, and delivered, but they've accepted a bid. And if we're led to believe that wages and that lot shouldn't be an issue, Kudus was never going to play regularly in his favourite position. True. I think even to be fair, by the time he was playing as a 10 or whatever, he's so disillusioned that you didn't see it. Just wait till Kudus gets in a bad moodus. I will try to remain positive, but they are really testing my patience. I honestly believe we can get relegated this year. I look back at that side, and the fact is, Kudus. The fact is, in all honesty, we don't know what's happening with Paqueta. We don't have with the outcome of the thing. It could be, even if he's found guilty, that there's an appeal process. So the chances are, if he's found guilty, he'll stay at West Ham because no other club will touch him with barge pole. I would be surprised now if we see Paqueta leave, and that is one saving grace, because you could assume, and I think, and again, I said it this morning. People say, "What, you've been smoking?" But I think Nicholas Füllkrug this year is gonna eat the Premier League. I really just got his feeling about the way he's seen him in pre-season, the way he's smiling, the way he looks really lean, he looks really hungry, and yeah, one door closes with Kudus, another one opens. Some of the opportunity now to nail that left hand side, which is his natural position, rather than cutting inside. You got to think Guilherme now has, a real opportunity there. George Earthy coming back into the side as well, and that's not including who we look to bring in as well. So players come and go, and they do, and it does bite me that he's gone to Spurs, and he's going to do well just because it always happens. But it's what we do from now on. That's happened now. It's happened, and it's like when people leave jobs and things like that. The next person has to step up, and yes, they will be compared to Kudus. When we was trying to find that Declan Rice replacement, which I still don't think we really found, in all honesty. But look how we reinvested that money for Declan Rice. We bought in Kudus, we bought in Alvarez, we bought in Mavropanos, we bought in Fulkrug. All that's. I know you didn't account for all that money, but we bought in 4 really good players over that sort of, and the likes of other players are bought in. But it's how that money's reinvested now. And until we see it come through the door, we don't know if it's and again, until they start playing, whether those players will be good. We were all excited when we signed Skromaka and it didn't work out. On the bright side, if Tottenham make a bad season, Kudus will make it worse. Now that he's a spud, I hope Guilherme does a Bowen 747 on Rice move. It's hard for me to get excited about Diouf. I actually don't know anything about Diouf. I think, bags of potential. I mean, the Slavia Prague, president, came out today and said he'll make more of an impact on West Ham than Thomas Souček did. Or more of an impact in his career, you know what I mean? So we'll have to wait and see. If West Ham were to buy Kudus from another club for last year, we would all be doing our nut over we overpaid. I'm confident the Mercenary will not be a spud success. Under the Brighton model, you sell your best players every year. Not sure we can endure that. Exactly, Raven. I don't think we can as West Ham fans. We got 4 good months of good games out of him at least. Ain't fit to clean the shoe off Bowen's boots, says Toby. Kudus gets the ump, doesn't get the ball, gets unloved. For Spurs, it's a nuclear migraine on the butt. Who would you like to replace him then, Russ? I think we've got a replacement. I think Jimmy is the perfect person because he actually plays on the left. He's left-footed. So for me, Jimmy comes in. And the money's reinvested elsewhere. The money's reinvested in, I'd say the left-hand side defensively. I think that needs a bit of work. Ollie's still learning. I think someone like Diouf on the left-hand side, Wan-Bissaka on the right-hand side, that gives you some balance. I think we've been quite imbalanced. It's been a lot down the right with Aaron and Bowen. And so I think we need to even that balance out. And still that midfielder, and still the centre half, and still another forward, and and I think actually that money's not necessary to go out and buy a Kudus replacement because I think we got the. And again, we talk about the Brighton model, having the next one behind him, and Guilherme's now had a year to adapt to the game, to adapt to West Ham. His time, now he moves into that position as well potentially. So we've got options there. It's not the end of the world. It seems like it now, but it's not the end of the world. And everyone's going to be very angry, and I get that. I'm angry. I'm frustrated that we sold a player to Spurs. But we knew it was going to happen. We knew he was going to be sold. As I said, halfway through last season, it was 99% he was leaving this summer. And you will get players who will move after a couple of years just to get to where they need to be. Kudus is a quitter when it gets rough. Bowen don't give up. Yeah. Right, let's go. Fuck the add-ons. An extra 10 minutes isn't worth Tottenham actually doing well to trigger the add-ons. Good point. 55 gets Elliott and Diouf still pissed off, but these two probably improve us as a team. Was never really able to be in his preferred position. And it's sort of what we do with Declan Rice, isn't it? We didn't go out and buy a Declan Rice replacement. We utilised that money to bring in 3 very good players and Mavropanos. As you said, 55 million quid, could get you, easy, just about get you Diouf and Elliott. And we'll have to wait and see. Scars will have him in his pocket or on his arse in the 20 minutes when they meet up. I think 55 is about right for Kudus. That's what I mean. I think it probably is about right, in all honesty. Once you look at it, I'm well behind on the comments. I'm going to zoom a load. I do apologise a minute. based on look at what's around. Elanga went for 45. Pedro 60, but it was Chelsea. They always overpriced, and I think Kudus was in that territory. So I think anywhere between 45 and 60 was market value, and I think 55 is not what we wanted. But yeah. Right, I'm really sorry to old man and stuff like that. I'm going to have to go down. Richard Osman cost 60 there. These Kudus would be loved and appreciated. Will he though? Did we make a profit? And what's the problem? We did make a profit. Right, I'm screwing down. Are we going for McAtee Russ? He's a player we're interested in, so wait and see. Yeet. Sullivan is a submissive chihuahua. Brilliant. Only positive in Kudus leaving is seeing Earthy play. If he does, I think that by what we're led to believe, all the kids are going to get the pre-season to prove whether that whether they're ready or not. And if they're not, then they'll be shipped out on loan, which I think is the right way to do it. Right, I'm just going down. Sorry. Don't forget Cornet. Forgot about Cornet. Exactly. He may be the problem. He may be the answer to our right wing back possibilities. Right. Do you think the club is going to add money to this? 55, not enough. Yeah, they will do. Right. Let me scroll down. At least we ain't got to worry when he goes to the AFCON, so we've got to worry. Yeah, exactly. You're totally right. Just if brought Diouf in, him and Wan-Bissaka are off. We haven't got a right back. That's what we need. Diouf, McAtee, Elliott on loan. Liverpool makes things better. We've got and we pay 40 million allegedly for Kilman. But again, even that now, I don't even know about the numbers now because we'll have to wait and see. Son is incompetent running the club. Diouf has only two injuries, but he has decent recovery time. Russ, if you're going to see him around before he moves, stick one on him, Gov. Paqueta, nothing on him. I'm happy he's gone. Not happy he's gone to Spurs. Yeah, fair enough. Right, I'm going to scroll down. I'm so sorry. Apparently, Son has told he can leave. He'll make an incredible financial transfer. Well, that was the thing. Son, he has been linked with moves away as well. And, the fact is they'll lose a shitload of money from going because of all the shirt sales. Earthy was in training already, as you can see. Kudus dares to dream, says Tafster, who I imagine is a Tottenham fan. Fair enough. Has run this club into the ground, sold the club's assets. We haven't sold all of them, but yeah, I know what you mean. I'll be happy with younger and potentially better players, no attitude. Yes and no, because I still think you do need a nucleus of experienced and then surrounded by youthful players. The fact is we've already reduced, Potter's first thing he had to do was reduce the age of the squad. He's done that significantly as we have got rid of 5 of our oldest players. Just Wes Fodringham, Souček and Emerson are over the age of 30. And Areola are over the age of 30 now. So we have completely reduced that. Wouldn't mind a cheeky bid for Son. We'd make the money back on his shirt sales. That's the thing you would do. And that's why the whole Suzuki thing was sort of you could put 2 and 2 together because the club have been desperate to get by a decent Asian player able to sort of get into that market. Selling Kudus wasn't the wrong move, but honestly, it feels like we're always selling our better players without replacing them when we need it. It'll be fuming if we get another. I don't think we will, though, Josh. In all honesty, I don't think we will, because I think what we'll do is we won't replace him like for like. I said we've got, for me, the natural successor is Jimmy. I think Jimmy, he's ready to go. Well, not ready to go, but he's done. It's how that money's reinvested to benefit the squad. When we sold Declan Rice, we didn't go and buy a replacement Declan Rice. We went and bought Kudus. We went and bought, Alvarez. We went and bought Mavropanos. We went and bought, Fulkrug as well. So all these sort of things added together. And for me, it's what we do now with Kudus. So with that money, Diouf has to be here by Friday, surely. If we're already in conversations, we've got now we've got this. Then what's next? We'll have Rusty rumour rating, the original rumour rating. Tomorrow, there's another players we've been interested in. the likes of Joe Willock from Newcastle. Again, you got to think his place has been moved slightly because of Elanga going to Newcastle. He's a Waltham Forest boy. But it all comes down to how much money. So, I don't think you're going to get a like for like replacement, but what you're going to do is get the money in to build the players that we need, the positions that we need. We're still lighting right back. We need a right back in. And if it is Martinez from Genoa or Mingueza, get it in. Get him in. We need to see some progress now. We need to see movement, because if we don't see any players coming in within, this week or even early next week, then the fan base is going to be even more disillusioned than it is now. Details of the for 3 years to be. I mean, Lynch. The thing is, everyone owes money for players all over the place. But the thing is, the money's in the bank, so to speak. The money's covered because you've got guarantees on that money, so you can spend that money. We need younger players like the targets we linked to. Me too. I mean, we have been linked with 150 odd players, 154, 155 now, I think. Hopefully, we'll get Cresswell and Diouf and Rios. I mean, for me, if we could get Harvey Elliott, it'd be lovely. But for me, Diouf and Rios, fucking hell, that's exactly what the positions we need. We don't really need at the moment a Kudus replacement, because I think we've got enough players to fulfill that role. Maybe not to the extent of Kudus, but we've got players to fulfill that role. We're light on left back if we're moving Emerson on. We're very light on right back, right wing back. We're light in midfield in terms of legs. If it was a Richard Rios or a Rafael on the Wake, forward, we need a reserve team goalkeeper as well. So there's loads of stuff we do need, and we do need the money by all accounts. Now, why do we need the money? I don't know. I don't know where the money's gone. You got to think we don't own the ground. You got to think, we've got quite a lot of wages, but we've bought poorly. The likes of Danny Ings, and how much money was wasted on Danny Ings. Skarmaka. These players we bought in and they just haven't worked out, and that's really, really, really hit us bad. I think no sell-on value. Spending a lot on wages anyway. Thanks for doing a lovely show. As always, thank you very much. Much appreciated. What do you reckon of the new kit? Do you know it's a grower for me? I saw it the other day with someone wearing it, and I haven't seen. I need to go and I'll go and buy it, and I'll buy it with the sponsor off. I always like to sponsor the shirts, and it looks like a nice shirt, like a shirt I'd wear down the pub. I'm looking forward to seeing the Accrue away kit, which is similar to that one we had a few years ago. Herb Boogers is available. It's his birthday the other day. I know the feeling isn't the best, but sometimes it's better to sell than deal with a problem. Kudus is very hit and miss and very reliant on pace. Yeah, I mean, look, it's done, isn't it? It's been done, and now it's how we move forward. I know it smarts a bit. I know it hurts because it's Spurs. I know we're going to get, same as when Spurs won the Europa League, you're going to get your Spurs fans coming in, but that's what football's about. It's about banter. It's about taking the piss out of each other. It's about, just it adds a little more spice for when we play them, because Kudus will be playing. And, hopefully Diouf will be there, and Diouf first, you want to, and then Diouf's on, he's a very attack-minded sort of wing back. It might mean that Kudus has to push back a little bit, and wait and see. Why don't Sullivan sell some of Soho and invest? There's no money in it, mate. There's no money in it, in all honesty, at the moment. Don't think we'll need like for like. I think we need a 10. Kudus was a competition with Bowen that didn't really need. Diouf is on the take. We get him. We will rinse Spurs for a year or two and look to move. And after that vibe, end up at Inter or Monaco. We need younger and physically fit, not party boys. Ferguson going out at night drinking and playing like some dude on a five-a-side pitch. I wouldn't give to have Rijeka in there. What striker would you like us to go for, lads? I mean, Gisand. I mean, someone's put that Gisand is it, but I don't think they'll go for him. I genuinely don't. I know I'd like him, but I think we go for a younger, rawer person. But again, we just don't know. We've been linked with so many players, Bring back Steiden. He was white-anted by Sullivan's BB Sean. Give Sullivan some starts. Give Guilherme some starts. Ayendo Wenke, Diouf and Gesang got to be priorities. 15 for Kudus ain't a lot when Paul's saying we pay. Yeah, but don't worry about that loan, Bill. This ain't going to that loan. As I said, it's like when you have a credit card and you sort of like you get to the end of your 0% and you sort of get another 0% to then carry it going. That's all that's doing. And if you read it, and again, that's what I was saying this morning. We see things and don't necessarily look. When we look at everything through football eyes, everything is a catastrophe. Everything's a nightmare. Everything's a da-da-da. And actually, from a realist perspective, a business perspective, you look at it again, you go, actually, no. Yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah. And that's what it is. We can't be seriously behagging over the Diouf deal. I just don't know what's happening with that. We need a new effing owner. But the trouble is, Scott, is no one's queuing up to buy it. That's the trouble. I think we know where the money's gone. It can't do now. So it can't do. Because everything's so transparent in football now, we know where everything moves, and if these players aren't sold and that money's not spent, then there will be problems. Glory's clocked in as he's been faster. He's much faster, and he's young as well. Can see it with Guilherme. If he gets up the gym a bit. Yep. What's the size? These are 30 by 30, available from Hobbycraft. They're called, I think, shadow frames. And they're just stuck up. They're good, aren't they? They just stick up with some command strips. Bought the unspot. It's nice and clean. It's very uncomfortable compared to last season's. Garino, hope you're well. Who drove the Ings? Yep, indeed. Even Budgie is done. Move on. Obviously, we'll have Budgie doing the old school hammers. I think you got Darren Blewett coming on, and that's going to be after at 10 o'clock. So hang around for a bit afterwards. And then you can go and chat. Can we no longer be sure about quoted? Yep, totally agree. We'll kick the hunt up in the air. So what's been happening? Not much. Going by Elliott. The money because Sunderland are ripping off fans. Can't wait to see the fans react when we lose to Sunderland first game. Burnley will happen again. Sad that all that Sunderland talk pieces are being positive. Well, as reiterated, we are not a Sullivan talk piece. We might think and talk differently than others, but we are not a talk piece. I don't gaslight. It's my own opinions. If you don't agree with them, fair enough. There's other places out there where you can listen to people with similar opinions to you across YouTube. The same for everyone. I'm a very pragmatic person. I am not particularly emotive in terms of I try and think the things with level-headed and always look for a positive spin. That's just what I like to do. Can see us re-signing Antonio, quite possibly. Kudus, just like Payet and even Arnie, comes to the conclusion the club he had no real project ambition. Yeah, or maybe his ambition was more than what we, in all honesty, being subjective, we're never going to win the Premier League, are we? Never going to win the Premier League. We're never going to... We might have a good cup run. We're not really going to compete for the Champions League. Maybe. We never know. 1 year, fluke year. We know our spot. And players will come in and use us as a stepping stone. Now, if we want to go to this next level, then we can't allow that to happen. But at the moment, I just can't see it happening. I finished my tantrum. Let's see what happens in the next few days. Indeed, we'll have the Rusty Humor rating tomorrow. So there'll be some new names in that list. Love the show. Thank you, John. Much appreciated. The club is run so poorly. It's been unbelievable how Netflix... Well, Garino, once they were going to do... The BBC were in talks, if I remember, when we just signed the deal to get the stadium. They were talking to the club about doing a Netflix type. Well, it wasn't obviously Netflix then, but he never got off the ground, and instead they ended up doing Jack and the women's game. But there was talk once. It would be the things I see. The things I see, my memoir, I can't wait to retire and I write my memoirs about my time at West Ham because everyone will be long gone by then. Yeah, it's incredible. honestly, some of the things I know, some of the things these eyes have seen, or these ears have heard. One day. Thank you very much. Troja will be surprised. No striker. The good ones come out of the blue. We have a few in a totally different direction. Change of subject. Have manhandled at the World Cup. Oh, to see a team and caliber. Can't see Carlos Costello though. Indeed, I've heard that Budgie's fella's a right dodgy bastard. Would love to see Matthias Soler from Juventus, isn't he? We were linked to him over the last year, weren't we? Thank you much, Raven. Much appreciated. Don't forget, if you like what we do, don't forget to give it a like. I always forget. Don't forget to give it a like, comment. If you're new around here, we've got a lot of people in here, particularly those on Twitter. Pop over and say hello and subscribe. We've just hit 27,000 subscribers, and very much looking forward to the next 27,000. Right, where's my current? Oh god, all the lists. Oh shit, right, where's it gone? There we go. I've had to find my place. I'm back. Let me just take that off. There we go. Right, where were we? Oh god, I lost my place. Yeah, you heard right. Many people don't agree with my opinion that women is fun. Yeah, all good. You know what I found? This is one for the GP. This is one for the old school. I wouldn't want to eat this. I found my minge. We all have a bit of minge. I found it. It's slightly melted minge, but I found it. Anyone of the old school, the Miami's 11, would know. I found it, and I thought I'm going to keep this to show on the show. Maybe I'll give it away as a prize. 100% Jimmy outscores Kudus next season. Does any club put out? We don't. You know, I think there are. Greeno. I actually think there are, and I think the trouble is we sit in our own bubble, pardon the pun, and we don't, and no one really knows. You know, I know Spurs did a lot. You know, Daniel Levy, and you know, a lot of people were anti him, and obviously the way they handled with Postologio as well, and Leicester particularly were really bad, and I think there's other clubs that do, but maybe we just don't see it as much. Absolutely disgusting and disgraceful. Selling Kudus to that vile club for 30 million less than beyond. Well, it's not 30 million. That's what was the minimum release clause, but no one paid it. It's YouTube, isn't it? So, I think market value is probably probably about right market value in terms of the people around it. Malanga's had a very good season for Nottingham Forest. He went for less. João Pedro, Chelsea overpaid a little bit. I think, in all honesty, if we're being subjective, that's probably about the money. If we'd paid £85 million for Kudus on the season he had last year, people would be saying we overpaid. You know, and 55 people go, fucking hell, it's a lot of money for Kudus who had a poor season. So, yeah, I'm done now, by the way. And to Spurs, it's a joke. The thing is, you never honour and get people who are better than him and they could do more than him. 55, a joke. Budgie's the fastest speed this side of the Dartford Tunnel. Bit calmed down, still annoyed at only 55, but hey, it is what it is indeed. I can't wait to watch pre-season at MetLife. This could be like watching a car crash. You want people to be okay, but can't turn away. Indeed, this project didn't stop having. Don't stop having a different opinion either. That's all right. No issue selling Kudus. For if it wasn't for Spurs, we have Bowen out right, and no manager who knows how to use him properly. Ultimately, square peg. I agree, Greeno. I really do agree. I'm doing a Yankaway Day covering the pre-season live versus on a weird situation as well. Well done, Ian. Good to see. Just pre-ordered your memoirs. Oh, they'll be fantastic. Selling off the family silver pittance so you can afford plastic knives and forks. Like, do you have absolute disgrace? If you had 100 million, what players would you sign? I think we need at least 6 players. I think we need another number one goalkeeper. I think we need another centre half. 2 if Agard goes. I think we need a left-sided defend like wing back like a Diop. We need a right-sided defender to cover our Saka. We need at least one midfielder with some pace. We need a forward. And you know, I could pick names out of a hat really because you know. I do like the lad Diouf. I think it'll be a good signing for us. I think we would like him. I think if we got what's his face Martinez from Girona, yep, Girona, good player. I think goalkeeper. I would like. I know he's not going, but I would like a Suzuki. I think he's a good keeper and opens up the Asian market to us as well. I'd love a Richard Rios or a Raphael or an Ardon Nishavi up front. I'd love an Evan Gisand, but just picking names out of the hat. Now Krudinski owns Royal Mail. Do you think the Royal Mail? I don't think he can actually. I don't think he can because you can't. I think there might be an issue with owning a company, and I don't know. The memoirs should be called My Story, Minge and Michelle Hansen. Yeah, my Minge. I heard that giving Kudus a nice dish of lasagna is part of the nice. What's a Minge? Oh, should DJ at the stadium when we play Spurs. Kudus is a wanker. The Minge is out. I summoned it. I had so many. Oh, did you? I had some melted Minge. Love it. Minge, not official. You want Rush? You legend. Still got it. Put that Minge away. A Minge looks nice. Minge is Adam's middle name. Don't Minge come in fingers. Minge is Minge chocolate. Never thought I'd say that I want Rush's Minge. Market value. You look at his competitive set. I think, and I'm not gaslighting. We'd want 85 million. We want, but I think realistically, you look at what people have spent. Jamie Grittens is 55 million pounds from Dortmund. As I said, Elanga was 45 million quid. I think if Gordon goes to Liverpool, it'd be around the same as well. Maybe 55 million. He'll have the homegrown tax on top. João Pedro was 60 million, weren't it? For Chelsea. Martin, what is his face for Arsenal? It's going to be about 55 million quid. I'm not being. It's just my opinion. How much do you think he's worth? With our claret glasses off. He's had a season out. He's had 2 seasons in the Premier League. First season he was brilliant. Second season we had a poor season, and therefore he had a poor season. And with a minimum release clause of 85. Don't know. I'm surprised Liverpool did not come in given the tragic circumstances. I just think it's a bit too soon, isn't it, to buy a replacement? As soon as they sign a striker to a company, people will then forget this drama. Kudus didn't work his body language elsewhere. Do you think Guilherme get a fair chance? I hope so. I thought I was disappointed, but YouTube users is showing what disappointment looks like and puts me to shame. Boycotts, protests, get these parasites as the club. There we go. YouTube use always makes me better. Pure hatred and personified in comments. Could we sell Sullivan to Royal Mail and post him somewhere? Nice idea. My thumbs hovered over the button for many goods. People don't want to play piss off. I don't think Chris. To me, he's never asked for. I think the transfer request is. That's the first we've heard about it. Is as soon as it's happened. Oh, yeah, be asked for transfer request. In today's society, that would have been all over social media by his agency. He's just signed for new agents in Rof, Roof. And I just think it's bollocks. I think the club were wanting to sell him in order to put money in the coffers. And I think they were hoping there was going to be a bidding war. I think they were hoping that it was going to drive the price up. But no. Tottenham were the only club in town who put in a deal. Arsenal didn't put money in for him. Liverpool didn't put cash in for him. Chelsea put players plus cash. The Saudis, although they were talking about it, never put money on the table. If the Saudis had put 50 million quid in, I guarantee he would have left, or it would have been accepted, despite the fact it's below what we've asked for it. Because by what X was saying from his senior source, they didn't want to sell him to Spurs. But there we go. I want to go to United and give it an upper decker. Some will absolutely swallow whatever Sullivan feeds and destroy West Ham. It's all excuses. Can't people hit the light? Indeed, Kudus was forced out. Pray for Claret Booth's blood pressure. 55 million will be enough for anybody, but Tottenham, I wouldn't have accepted less than 65. So how much have we actually paid for Glenn? Exactly. If we're led to believe the bloody Fulkrug wasn't 27, it was 22 or 20. That was about 20 million pounds. What did we play for Guilherme? A victim of circumstances, but a liability for Spurs, I'm calling it. I don't blame Kudus for leaving, but our owner is an absolute joke. I've heard 10 million for 5 years as a deal. Please explain. I don't think so. I think it's over 3 years. But again, the money's in the bank then. So it's you've got the guarantee, so you can buy against that. I didn't mean Kudus, anyone in general, lad. We play players committed to the club. I'm really supporting the club released the statement saying he'd only go to Spurs. Now, again, it's all about wording. And that's my point, Diggy. He said he'd go to Spurs because Spurs were the only one who put an offer in. He was being touted to Liverpool. He said to his agents trying to say, he'd take a pay cut to go to Liverpool. But Spurs were the only club in town who put an offer in. So, of course, it's the only one he's talking to. Because it's the only fucker who put a bid in for him. Even the Saudis. None of the Saudis put bids in for him. They might put tentative, we've asked, but no one actually put a cash offer in. Spurs were the only club in town to put a cash offer in. So Kudus being the only club he's spoken to, because that's the only club he did speak to. Do you think Fulkrug deserves another season? No, I think Fulkrug deserves another season. This season, definitely. We don't have any PSO issues for next season. The real problem here is cash flow. Yep, indeed, Greeno. 20 million, 18, or was it? It was 22 million euros, 18 million. What's going on after seeing deals like going down? They claimed it was 20 million, I think, at the time. How much of 55 does GP get? All of it, we've been told. But again, we'll wait and see. Probably including all of add-ons and part of the reason he never got any games for PL2. Complete incompetence and financial mismanagement is destroying the club, and most are just holding his hand as he and Brady walk towards oblivion. Strong words. At least you finished above Spurs. He only trained the first team all season, got 5 minutes most. For me, Troy, I always thought with Guilherme it was part of the process. And he was always coming in as being Kudus's replacement. They had a 12-month plan for him. So the idea was he was bought last summer. The assumption was Kudus was probably only going to be here for 2 years and then leave this summer anyway. I think they assumed that at the time, even when they bought him. And so he was, the conveyor belt, the Brighton model, what we wanted. But he just smarts, isn't it? Kudus was very poor last season. Good players complaining on the pitch. Kudus stopped playing. Going over the shootout. Budgie, if you want to start early, let me know. And I can close the stream and you can all go straight over and talk to Budgie. I've put the redirect in so you can just go and talk to Budgie straight away. Why are the only ones tell its own story? I don't understand that, but yeah. Players come and go. Just bringing younger players at pace, bit of fighting and daring too. The 55 could go a long way, probably. Yeah, and I think also, if we're buying players who maybe not under the radar, but in the less favoured leagues, then yes, that can go a long way. I would have thought playing would have helped him acclimatise to England quicker. It's PL2's not proper football, mate. You're playing against kids, really. I think he was handled the best way I think he was. That makes sense. PL2 just isn't the right place for him. It's where some players go to die. I mean, look at Luis Al, for example. I think I've worded my comment poorly. My concern is the fact they've released a statement at all. Well, they haven't even released a statement, have they? It's gone out via the mouthpieces, we'll say. So there we go. The problem is Potter, back five. It works, but it means to have things in place to thump out goals and make the counter-attack count. And maybe again, I'm just thinking out loud, but maybe with the way the setup is, if he plays through it back, the wing backs and stuff. Kudus is more favoured about being, for me, his best position is on the right wing. And at the moment, the way it's set up, he's not, we don't have a right winger position. And if we can get players in who can play in that position that he needs a Kudus to play in, then could that benefit the team? Do we have players already in that position? And were we playing Kudus? As someone said, was it a round peg, square hole? Granted, good players can play in any position. I'm just trying to make some sense of it. I think for me, even when we bought him, we knew he weren't going to be here for a long time. But I think, again, if today we'd sold him for 55 million to Chelsea, I think people wouldn't be as irate as if having sold him to Spurs. And that's a genuine truth. Even though they sold him to Arsenal, which I thought that was most likely because, until recently, he had one of his teammates who, he's going to get banged up now. But he was pictured at Emirates quite a bit in the VIP lounges and stuff. So I think the fact that he's gone to Tottenham, that's the killer, isn't it? Don't forget Potter too. Potter wanted Kudus out. Potter had no place for him as he doesn't use wingers. It's true. I don't know, and he doesn't use wingers. So actually, if he's our most sellable asset and we can get that money reinvested to get players in to fit the system, this time next season, we might look at that as a turning point. We don't know. Football is all about hindsight. If he wins his first 10 games, which he probably won't, but he might do. If he wins his first 5 games, if he loses his first 5 games, you're only as good as your last result. And, the expectation of a fan base, if you saw Rashane Thomas's fan survey, is very low at West Ham at the moment amongst the fan base. So this, as I said, it can be turned around by Potter if we see some goals, if we see some wins, if we see some progressive play. The fan sort of expectations are very low of this season already. So there is an opportunity to exceed those fans' expectations. Not by a lot, but we'll see. I always wanted this channel to send around the world to meet West Ham fans. Well, I've got an idea about something like that. That's right. I heard Darren Bent say the other day he went to Spurs and said of us, Eggy said he couldn't think he was signed. Yes, I read that story. Had big hopes for Guilherme this season. Me too. Why did West Ham add a future? Who knows? We don't know. At least we have not got to worry about him being absent. We have to worry about him and also Diouf if we sign Diouf. Ghana apparently didn't qualify. Compared to his Guilherme and is dangerous. Somerville and will do absolute bits. Potter is an absolute joke of a manager who's tactically inept. This back five is going to make Moyes entertaining and adventurous. What's the of us owning 40? The 13, don't worry. The 13 is ring fence. Haven't spent that money knowing full well that the Russians will want it eventually. CSKA Moscow will want it. So that's been that's been gathering interest and stuff. 40 million is basically, we're due, it's basically when you come to the end of your credit card, and you have to pay off your credit card. So you either pay it off or you then transfer it to another credit card and then pay it in installments, which is what basically it looks like we're going to be doing. Right. Possible improves when he has some good passes. Incensed with this FFS. My issues with the mediologist system based there are great ideas, the wrong way with the wrong materials. Happy he's gone if I was about the right limit. That's what I thought. But anyway, he never kissed a badge. Always wanted to play for us in his first video. He was clearly didn't give 2 fucks. 15. Aguerd 15 and Aguerd for 12 next. What? What? What the hell are you saying about man? We got 50 for Alvarez. I don't think Alvarez will go 15 million, mate. I think in all honesty, you're probably at the moment again market value. I think you're looking at probably about 30, 35, maybe. Yeah, possibly. A 4-2-3 on low block works on the same premise as the back five. Counter attack, make it count. Part of the bus with the handbrake off. Dinner served. I'd keep a guard as well, but we'll wait and see. 55, we made a bit of profit, right? We did. Next suffer, Bowen. Potter's 4-5 again. He's a striker where he suffers and he isn't best. For me, Potter, he doesn't play as a striker. I think for me, it's Fulkrug, and we have to keep Fulkrug fit, and we have to buy another forward in the same ilk as Fulkrug. So it's more of a target man rather than necessarily a Bowen doesn't work as a forward. But then where does he fit in the system properly? Do you know what I mean? His best position, is coming off the right, cutting in onto his left. Not really taking on men around the outside, but it's more about cutting inside and shooting. Does that fit in the system? Not necessarily. So how that works? Can we please sell James Ward-Mouse? Look, as I said, what I always say is it takes two to tango, two to transfer, and I just don't see. We might want to sell his players, but who wants to buy Mavropanos? No one. I'm surprised the club are not reporting he's doing to make it look more inflated. Good idea. 55 for the most talented player, West Ham of all time. Really? I don't think he's the most talented player of all time. I think he's a very unique player, but not the most talented. The lad's only played 2 seasons, I don't think he's the most talented, I'll be honest. We cannot play Boa. It just doesn't work. I totally agree. Don't do the video, Russ. But thanks for all the work. My pleasure, Danny Hardy. And as I said, we'll have Rush Rumor Rating, the original Rumor Rating. That'll be coming out later on tomorrow. BFG winning crosses. Irvin, Jimmy feeding off him. Goalfest season. But he's another one who wants out. You're right. Fulkrug is a link-up man for Jimmy. I'm a Tottenham fan, so I believe he's the most talented. Very good. Check the stats. Potter seems the lowest at chances created and goals scored. He plays 5 at the back and 3 non-creative midfielders, 8 defensive-minded players. Didn't he sign Mitomo during his time? Was he? I think we can look at. I just think. I don't know. I know what you mean. And I know you're angry, YouTube user, and I know you're angry. I'm angry too. But I think if this is the way we're going to be going, it's the way we're going to be going. By bringing in Potter, there is a style, there is a setup. I mean, one of the great things about playing 3 at the back, the fact is that the under-21s play that. The 18s play that. So in terms of development, if an Ezra Mayers comes in and goes to the first team, he knows how that left hand of the back 3 plays. We haven't had that. Anyway, I'll give Russ half point for mentioning Russian rating. I love the Diamond Light, very good. Tick, tick, Kudus, tick. There's a kid in here, pretend you're happy about it. Okay. Kudus is a highlight reel player. Imagine how much it will be taken to sign him last summer. Indeed. No, Potter doesn't sign players, his director of football did. We're still under the Potter regime, surely. Bit peed off for us. Top mullets. Sadly, this coming season, I don't fancy Potter achieving much other than a relegation battle. Leeds are not going to be a pushover. I don't think any of them. I think Sunderland have done well. I think Burnley have bought well. I think it's going to be a really interesting season. Can't wait till he starts liking things for whatever reason. He has an issue with the players. Good luck with him. Don't see a reason to doubt Potter. Most of the people got excited with Flopategui. Mate, everyone gets the benefit of doubt for me. They always do, always have done, Now, I'm going to stop. Let me just check. Is Budgie started yet? Let me just message Budgie, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to close the stream. And if you stay there, you'll go straight over to see Budgie. I think Darren Blewett's going to be on the show as well. Are you ready to go live? And I'm just going to check. And once he responds, I will then leave the stream, and then you can go and check over there. Russ, the under 3-1s play 3-4-3. Potter plays 5-3-1-1. Well, not necessary, because that three is not always a three. Usually it's Josh Ajala up front on his own. It usually is Josh up on his own, and someone like Judy Robinson plays right wing back, and he plays very high up, very, very high up. Sick of this club and its owners. They are a laughing. I'm guilty as charged. Slop somehow had a social media 4 pillars thing. I don't realise was a template. I thought, he spoke a good game. I think Potter speaks a good game as well. Well, when he did speak properly, when you could understand what he was saying, he used to be wanting to be the noisy neighbour. Great. If someone posted they could do slander to make ourselves feel better, it's a bit sad. We've sold Spurs a discount because I've always an ability to do the job. They're not fit for purpose on these Brown. At the end of the day, Lop said he could bring attacking football. I believed it. We all did. We all believed it. We all believed it, my friends. But it wasn't to be. Right, I'm leaving. Stay and go over and see Budgie. Much love. Bye-bye.